History is not only made of battles won and empires built, it is also shaped by the events no one could explain. The moments that left witnesses speechless and scholars searching for centuries. Tonight, we examine 5 such moments, real, documented, and profoundly mysterious. 5 enigmas that history has never fully resolved. Mystery 1. The vanishing colony of Roanoke. 1590. In 1587, over 100 English settlers arrived on Roanoke Island, off the coast of what is now North Carolina. They were the first English colonists attempting to establish a permanent settlement in the New World. Their governor, John White, sailed back to England for supplies just weeks after their arrival, and when he finally returned in 1590, after a 3-year delay caused by war with Spain, he found the colony completely and utterly abandoned. There were no bodies, no signs of a battle, no traces of disease or fire. The only clue left behind was a single word carved into a wooden post: Croatoan, the name of a nearby island and a local Native American tribe. White searched desperately, but found nothing. Theories have ranged from assimilation into the Croatoan tribe to mass migration inland to attack by hostile forces. Archaeological excavations in recent decades have uncovered artifacts suggesting possible integration with indigenous communities, but no definitive answer has ever emerged. The fate of the lost colony of Roanoke remains one of America's oldest and most haunting unsolved mysteries. Mystery 2. The Mary Celeste, a ghost ship on the Atlantic, 1872. On December 4, 1872, a Canadian brigantine named the Dei Gratia spotted a vessel drifting erratically in the Atlantic Ocean, between the Azores and the coast of Portugal. When its crew boarded, they discovered the American merchant ship Mary Celeste, seaworthy, cargo intact, and completely deserted. The last log entry was dated November 25th. The ship's lifeboat was gone. The crew's personal belongings, clothing, pipes, even a child's toys, were all left behind. There was no sign of a struggle. The cargo of industrial alcohol was largely undisturbed. Captain Benjamin Briggs, his wife, his 2-year-old daughter, and the entire crew of 7 had simply disappeared. Investigators at the time suspected foul play, piracy, even mutiny, but no evidence supported any of those conclusions. Later theories pointed to seismic sea activity, alcohol fumes causing a panicked evacuation, or a waterspout that frightened the crew into abandoning ship prematurely. But no survivors were ever found, and no wreckage of a lifeboat ever recovered. The Mary Celeste sailed on into history as the definitive ghost ship. Mystery 3. The Tunguska event. The Sky Tears Open, 1908. On the morning of June 30th, 1908, something extraordinary happened over a remote forest in Siberia. An explosion, estimated to have released energy equivalent to roughly 10 to 15 megatons of TNT, flattened approximately 2,000 square kilometers of forest near the Podkamanaya Tunguska River. Witnesses reported a column of bluish light nearly as bright as the sun, followed by a flash and a shockwave that knocked people off their feet more than 60 kilometers away. The seismic shock was recorded across Europe. Yet when scientists finally reached the remote area, more than a decade later in 1927, they found no crater, no meteorite fragments, just an enormous circular devastation of some 80 million fallen trees, pointing outward from a central epicenter. The leading scientific consensus today holds that a small asteroid or comet entered Earth's atmosphere and exploded before reaching the surface, an airburst. But because no fragment has ever been conclusively recovered, the Tunguska event retains an air of mystery that continues to fascinate astronomers, historians, and conspiracy theorists alike. Mystery 4. The Voynich Manuscript, The book no one can read. C. 15th century. Somewhere around the early 15th century, an unknown author produced one of the most perplexing documents in human history. The Voynich manuscript, named after the Polish book dealer Wilfrid Voynich, who acquired it in 1912, is a handwritten, illustrated codex of some 240 pages, written in a script that no linguist, codebreaker, or cryptographer has ever been able to decipher. The text flows with the statistical patterns of a natural language. It has word frequency, structure, and repetition consistent with real writing. The illustrations depict unidentifiable plants, naked figures bathing in green pools, and elaborate astronomical diagrams. Carbon dating places the vellum to approximately 1404 to 1438. Over the centuries, some of the world's most brilliant minds have attempted to crack it, including teams at the NSA and WY2N codebreakers. As of today, the Voynich manuscript sits in Yale University's Voynich Rare Book Library, still unread, still unexplained. Mystery 5. The Dancing Plague of Strasbourg, 1518. In July of 1518, in the city of Strasbourg, then part of the Holy Roman Empire, a woman named Frau Trophea stepped into the street and began to dance. She danced without music. She danced without stopping. Days passed. She could not stop. Within a week, dozens of others had joined her. Within a month, the number had reportedly swelled to around 400 people, all dancing compulsively, unable to rest. Contemporary physicians and city officials documented the outbreak in detail. Some dancers collapsed from exhaustion. Some suffered heart attacks. Some reportedly died. The city's response was unusual. Authorities, believing that more dancing was the cure, hired musicians and cleared a space for the afflicted to continue. Historians today believe the dancing plague was a form of mass psychogenic illness, a phenomenon in which stress, fear, and social contagion cause physical symptoms to spread through a group. The region had suffered years of famine, disease, and religious turmoil, creating conditions of extreme collective anxiety. The episode remains one of the most documented and bewildering examples of mass hysteria in recorded history. 5 stories, 5 silences that history left behind. Whether a colony swallowed by the wilderness, a ship abandoned in open sea, a sky that tore apart without warning, a book written in a language no one speaks, or an entire city that could not stop moving, each of these events reminds us that the past holds chambers we have not yet opened. Perhaps we never will, and perhaps that is precisely what makes history so endlessly, irresistibly human.